Hey, what's up guys, Raids here. Welcome to 6 of my favorite raid-based locations now. I've settled on a couple of them, but I'm going to give you a longer list in case you guys want to pick and choose from different environments. So this one's going to be the first one, Twilight Dunes. And by the way, these locations all have large wind vortexes, which are very different from the small ones. The large ones give you a much further boost upwards. You're going to see here, this is a large wind vortex. The big ones are the strongest ones. They give you a ton of verticality really quickly. So that's what I'm looking for here. First one is going to be Twilight Dunes, close to Anubis here. Negative 176, negative 149, good view. No trees and some rocks, very open space. The only downside of this spot is that building the altar is very limited. The only good spot to build the altar is right there where I have it, around that corner. So that's the only downside of this location. If it wasn't for that, I would have probably built here already. And the cliffs are really good because they're nice and flat. So very hard for anything to get stuck there. Very nice open area. Moving on here to the second location on the list, which is where I'm considering moving my raid base, Bamboo. This is Bamboo Grove. This one is going to be negative 233, negative 72, also close to Anubis. Look at that nice flat cliff with a big wind vortex. Check it out. Bamboo thicket, excuse me. So big wind vortex there, nice flat area. There are some trees. No location really is perfect, but there are some trees, but it's got a nice beach view. I like this spot a lot. I might consider moving here because of how flat it is. The trees are kind of an inconvenience, but the cliff wall is very, very flat. Like I said, the wind vortex is very, very strong. It takes you right up to the cliff. Very easy to dodge a lot of attacks there on foot. Check it out again. Wind vortex here. Big wind vortexes, and you can go up to the top of the cliff if you want. So that's going to be Bamboo. I'm thinking of this one or the next one. It might be my next raid location. And I got a lot of questions about where I'm having it right now, where I have the raid base currently. You'll see that at the end of this video also. So moving on here to a very similar one. This one I found was very interesting. Broncherry. So Broncherry is basically right by Broncherry. Right by Broncherry now has a large wind vortex. You're going to see here a nice view. The cliff wall is kind of jagged, so I don't like it as much. You're going to see here that the cliff wall does have some spots where tiles can get stuck right there. So not as good as Bamboo, but nicer view in my opinion. Again, another flat cliff wall, which you can use to get vantage points here. Very nice. So this is literally on the Broncherry spawn point. You can kill Broncherry and set up here. Another very nice view. It's got a water there. If you ever catch fire, you can go to the water. You can retreat to the water. So this is another very good raid base location. And yes, I got a lot of questions about these wind vortexes. And in my opinion, you need them in a raid base. It's just so efficient to have them. You can gain infinite verticality on an on-foot build, which is always useful. There's a lot of builds that are on foot where you don't have a mount, especially builds that involve, let's say, Anubis where you have ground damage or something where you're on foot, right? You don't have a mount. So moving on here, we have Sakurajima. This is the spot I showed off in that video. This spot is really pretty much perfect except for the fact that it's not flat and it's got a lot of trees, but it does have 2 retreat spots. It's got the large wind vortex in the middle, so not against a cliff wall, which is very nice. So it does have some trees here which you have to kill off. It's got some retreat points down that way, which is really nice. It's got some really easy ways for you to get out of the base, which is very nice. And it also has a dungeon. So very easy escape points in this raid base. This is a very good raid location here, and it's pretty flexible about where to place the altar down by that path. So here's the dungeon exit again. Pretty nice. And this one has the best view out of all of them. Biggest downside, in my opinion, of this raid base is the trees. Really, the trees. And maybe in the very rare situation where there's a cosmic meteor off by the edge, maybe some pals could get knocked off. It's the biggest downside of this area, but otherwise it's a really nice area. So moving on here to one that I think a lot of people did not expect, the desert. This one's very, very cool. It's got a large wind vortex and a dungeon right next to it. So it's got an escape exit. Kind of limited placement on the altar. The altars can only be placed in that corner over there, pretty narrow. But it's got a nice, fairly even surface for the desert. And the cool thing is you can retreat down to the dunes. So very easy retreat paths using grapple, where you can use grapple and retreat down to the left or to the bottom of the dunes. Very easy. No trees here with some rocks also. Very nice vantage point. So this one I really like. This one I really like. Desert. Desert's really cool. And it's got some, yeah, the dungeon's right there. You can escape to the dungeon, which is really nice in an emergency. So that's desert. And then moving on to the last one on the list, number 6, it's going to be Marsh Island. This is going to be where I have my raid base right now. Marsh Island. This area is really, really good. It's got a escape point down by the dungeon over there. Again, strong wind vortex by a cliff. And nice open and flat area. The only downside of this area that I found is that the cliff is kind of jagged, and I've had pals get stuck one time, like literally one time in dozens of videos. So it does happen. That's the only reason why I'm considering maybe moving to bamboo. But otherwise, this location is perfect. This is what I've used in a lot of my videos recently. You guys ask a lot of this about this one. So it's this is Marsh Islands. So really nice. So anyway, I hope you guys found it useful and that it answers some of your questions about wind vortexes and why I put them in my raid bases. Hope that it helps somebody out there, that it answers your questions. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Leave me a comment, leave me feedback. I will see you guys on the next one.